Hello everyone, this is Sudi Burnett and I would like to welcome you all to my show Body, Mind and Spirit. In today's program I am going to talk about nutrition. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. In general, we categorize food into three groups: carbohydrates, proteins, oils or fat. Carbohydrates, then again, it gets divided into two groups: starchy carbohydrates and non-starchy carbohydrates. Starchy carbohydrates such as whole grain, whole wheat, pasta, breads, yam, potatoes. Non-starchy such as green leafy vegetables, zucchini, cauliflower, broccoli, these are non-starchy. Then again, carbohydrates gets divided into two groups: simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrate, that means that is one molecules. So when you eat like sugar, any type of sugary stuff, white flours, because it's simple, the digestion is quicker. So it gets into the liver and the liver would send it into our blood sugar, and the blood sugar start run really quickly through our body, and then we get a hike of energy, and then it's going to crash us down, and then we're going to feel weak and we lose our energy. On the other hand, when you're taking complex carbohydrates, because it is more than one molecule, so the breakdown is easier. So it doesn't get digested as quickly as simple carbohydrates, but what happens is that the breakdown of the glucose is slower, okay? So what happens in general, whether we're taking simple carbohydrates or complex carbohydrates, as I already mentioned, they break down into a form of glucose. If you take too much carbohydrates and your body releases too much glucose, when you have too much free glucose into the blood, the body starts to release insulin to get rid of that extra sugar that is in the blood. So when this takes for a long period and your body is constantly releasing too much insulin, what happens is you become insulin resistance. You become sensitive to the insulin and your body is not able to digest that sugar, okay? So in the process, if this continue going on and on year after year, not only you become diabetic too, you become insulin resistance, but also something else would happen. As a result of this action, your body then would learn to store fat in your fat cells instead of using it as fuel for energy, okay? So this is why we have to be very careful at the first place to take only complex carbohydrate. And the second place is to cut back on the amount of carbohydrates that we are taking. And I would like to tell you that so many of us are allergic to wheat, barley, and rye, okay? Gluten is one of the main sensitivity that a lot of people have, and in today's market you will see, sometimes I even see like places, restaurants, they say gluten-free pizza or gluten-free restaurants, because recently we're starting to understand that gluten sensitivity is a major problem. So what are gluten? Gluten, as I said before, it's a protein found in wheat, barley, rye. That means when you eat gluten, your body reacts to it as a virus. And as a result of that, your immune system starts to weaken. And then you start to become allergic. A lot of people don't understand the reason when they wake up in the morning, they have sinus problems such as runny nose, running eyes, sneezing, and allergies is because of the sensitivity they have with gluten. Okay, but I have to add here that gluten is way beyond wheat, barley, and rye. In today's market, they use gluten in almost everything. So when you're going to supermarket, most of your cereals, pastas, salad dressing, sauces, pretty much everything, muffins, whatever you get, they use gluten in there. And that would create a lot of problems. When you feel like you're eating your food and you start to get bloated, that the reason for that is actually because you are sensitive to gluten. But because you are not aware of it, you eat a muffin, and then after a couple of hours, you start to feel like your energy is draining. You start to have like allergy symptoms, and then your stomach gets bloated. So that's one of the things that I would like to bring to your attention, to be careful on gluten, and you have to be gluten-free. So the solution to that is if you go to like health store, for instance, Whole Foods or Mother Nature's or those stores, they offer you breads that says it is wheat-free and gluten-free. You have brown rice bread, you have black rice bread, and also you have other sprout bread that says wheat and gluten-free. Second thing I would like to talk to you is basically in the US, all the manufacturers, man-made, pre-packaged food, frozen foods that you purchase, they use additives in their food. What does that mean? That means you are kind of like taking drugs unknowingly. Okay? So because they use additives in their food, when you eat that, it's the way it works is, you know, our body has receptions. So all these receptors get the message from your digestive tract, that is what is going on, and then it will transfer it to your brain. In our brain, there is a place that is a switch on and off buttons. So when you use additives, what happens, you eat your food, your digestive tract is trying to break down and digest that food, but it just stays in that stage. So the receptors are not carrying on the message to your brains that you are full. So what happens is you keep eating more and more food, and you are constantly hungry. In another word, you become obsessive with food. So the solution for that is that you guys have to stop shopping any kind of pre-packaged food from the supermarket. So basically what I do myself, I buy bread that says wheat-free and gluten-free, and I might have a slice or two in the morning, and for the rest of the day, I just make 3 to 5 salads, and I add like sesame seed, I add like different sprouts, avocado, almonds, seeds such as chia seeds, and what else? Basically sunflower seed, pumpkin seed. And that's a whole meal by itself that you could eat a few times per day. Or you could also make a salad, boil some eggs, hard-boiled eggs. You get your protein from the eggs, and you have your salads, and you can have all the almonds and walnuts and all different kind of seeds and sesame seed, and then you will have another meal. Or you could make soy. You can add soy to your salad. You can also do like tofu and what else? Grilled chicken, grilled fish, grilled seafood, and these are all going to be gluten-free. I have a DVD called Healthy Nutrition, Healthy Cooking, and I had showed you can make so many different salad as main meal and how you can eat healthy while you're separating your fruits, carbohydrates, proteins, and you're eating according to your blood type, how you can eat. So Healthy Cooking is a DVD that teaches you how to have a healthy diet, gluten-free diet, and whatever blood type you have, whether you're A blood type, B blood type, A, B, or O, according to your allergies, how you should eat to avoid those hidden food allergies. Okay? Something else that I want to talk to you about is about our thyroid glands. And you know, the recent research in the US showed that 27 million Americans have problem with their thyroids, and half of that 27 millions are not aware of it. So thyroid is pretty much the way I can explain it is just like a butterfly that is like between your throat and your chest, under your neck, right here. And as I mentioned before, thyroid is extremely important on how you maintain your body. If your thyroids are overactive, you would be extremely skinny and you will have a lot of problem to gain weight. And if you have hypothyroidism or your thyroids are underactive, you would gain weight no matter what you do, how much you exercise, or how healthy you eat. Okay? So gluten is another reason, underlying problem for your thyroids not to function well. Also, stress, anxiety, all are toxic emotions such as anger, jealousy, hatred. All those toxic emotions also makes our brain to release more adrenaline. And when the body releases too much adrenaline, because adrenaline glands and thyroid glands, they work hand in hand. When your adrenaline glands become overactive, then it's not going to function as well. And because adrenaline gland is in a direct connection with your thyroids, as a result of that, your thyroid glands will be acting poorly. So you're going to be starting to have problem with your thyroids. So the reason I'm telling you this is because it's extremely important what you eat and when you eat and all that. Okay? So now I'm going to move on to fibers. Complex carbohydrates, they all have fibers. Fibers are extremely important. It is very healthy to have a diet that is high on fiber. So basically, when you're eating like beans, which is a complex carbohydrate, or when you eat soy, or when you mix your food, for instance, vegetables, salads, mixed beans or soys, these are complex carbohydrates, and they carry a lot of fibers with them. So what happens when you eat this food and they get into the liver and the liver start to break it down, after the breakdown of the food, it goes into your small stomach and then to your large stomach. So when the fiber gets into our large stomach, it absorbs the water that exists in our large stomach, and then it kind of expands. So as a result, it makes us feel full for a longer period. Also, fibers will grab a hold of all those free fats, free cholesterol, and some of the food that hasn't been really digested. It forms a bulk, and then it leaves your body. So when you guys read on a box of oatmeal and it claims that it will get rid of your bad cholesterol or it would help your weight loss, is because of the reason that fibers kind of grabs to your free cholesterols, free fat, some of the food that is not digested yet, and it forms a bulk and it relieves your body. Also, fibers helps with pretty much constipation. Okay, so fibers are very important. Now, fibers get divided into two groups: soluble fibers, insoluble. Soluble means it gets dissolved in water. Insoluble means it doesn't dissolve in water. So the fiber that doesn't get dissolved in water, the human body is not able to break that down. Animals such as cows or sheep, they are able to break that down, but human body doesn't have that ability. So you would say, okay, if it's not soluble and if my body cannot digest it, so what good does it do for my body? Basically, as I mentioned before, although your body doesn't digest it, but it will still do the action of getting into other free fat cells or also free cholesterols and would release from your body. So when you eat, let me give you an example. You read a box of cereal, and this box will claim 1/4 cup of this cereal has 27 grams of carbohydrates and 5 grams of soluble fiber and 5 grams of insoluble fiber. So since the body is not able to break down and absorb that 5 grams, you can divide that, or I'm sorry, not divide that, deduct that 5 calories from 27. So that means now your 1/4 cup of cereal has 22 calories. And if it says it has like 17 or 27 grams of carbohydrate, as a result, it has 22nd gram of carbohydrate instead of 27. Okay? So as you know, we have many studies in the US, and they said a majority of Americans have colon cancer, and that's because in their diet, in today's market, all those croissants, all those processed food, all the processed breads and flour doesn't have any more fibers. So because a lot of us don't get enough fibers in our diet, you end up getting colon cancer. So this is why you have to take a lot of fibers. But you can get a huge amount of fibers from your leafy greens, from vegetables, zucchini, eggplant, cauliflowers, broccoli, all of that has a lot of fibers, okay? So you don't have to use the starchy carbohydrate in order to get enough fibers in your food. Also, if you guys go to my website, surabe.com, I have healthy nutrition and exercise book where we have a list of fibers. For instance, apricot, how much fiber per 1 cup of apricot, or so on and so on. Something else is glycemic index. Also in my book, I gave you a couple of pages of glycemic index. So that means when you eat, for instance, a food, how much does that food place with your blood sugar? If you eat dates, okay, dates are so high on sugar that it really spike up your blood sugar, and as a result, after 15 to 20 minutes, it kind of crash you down, okay? So I explained, for instance, a lot of people think, okay, watermelon is a healthy, cool fruit, but what they don't realize is that watermelon is really on a high glycemic index. It has a lot of sugar. Here I also would like to mention that you guys have to remember, when your food becomes dry, like when you use dry food, such as apricot, could be pears, could be peaches, raisins, any kind of fruits that becomes dry, not only the calories would double and triples, also the sugar. Okay, so be careful. A lot of people don't understand. Like I see some people, they eat prunes, a lot of dry prunes, and they think that, okay, this is just a healthy snack, and they don't realize that that prune has a lot of calories and a lot of sugar. And when you eat a lot of dry fruit, as I mentioned before, it would plays with your blood sugar, and as a result, your body will store more fat. Okay, now I'm going to talk about candidas. What are candidas and what's the problem with candidas? Candidas are yeast that grows in our stomach. Okay, so what creates candida? There are many things that create candida. Number one, if you're drinking tap water. In US, we know that they use fluoride in our tap water. So if you are not using filtered water, that fluoride in the water would kill the good, friendly bacteria in our stomach, such as Acidophilus and Bifidus. Also, birth controls, ladies that use birth control, or when you use any kind of medication, whether it's an aspirin, Tylenol, for antidepressant or anxiety, any kind of prescription drugs, antibiotics, will kill the friendly bacteria. So when the friendly bacteria will leave our body, or we lose them in our stomachs, the bad bacteria or the yeast, so that they call candida, they will multiply like crazy. Candida eat glucose or sugar. Okay, so as a result, our body starts to release more and more insulin, because the candidas are eating all the glucose in our body. Then we feel really hungry, our blood sugar drops low, so we intend to eat more carbohydrates, more sugar, pastries and sweets. The more pastries and sugar and carbohydrate we eat, the more glucose exists for the candida to be fed. And when we are sleeping at night, during the night when we're fasting, the candida pretty much eat all the glucose that's in our body. So as a result of low sugar, the adrenal glands has to work double or triple. When this continues for a period of time, the thyroid glands that has a direct connection with adrenal gland start to act poorly. So as a result, we're going to start to have thyroid problem. So how do we get rid of candida? By cutting back on all carbohydrates. So my time is over, guys, but I have a nutrition DVD that I talked about all of these good things. You can go to my website, sudabe.com, purchase a nutrition DVD that has all this information. I will see you guys next week. All these programs are going to be on my Facebook page, Sudi Burnett. You can request a friendship. My website is sudabe.com. Please check my website. And also my seminar in Turkey, Istanbul, is going to be end of June. For all of you guys from US, Canada, Europe or Middle East who would like to come to my seminar, please contact me on my email address sudiyazdi@yahoo.com. Till next time, I wish all of you much love, joy, and peace. I love you.